Well, hello there, fellow Curvists. This is Jemmy, and welcome to the 75th episode of the Curve the Cube podcast. The Curve the Cube podcast is meant to inspire you to find your passion and do your thing. Don't get stuck in a rut. Follow your dream. Do something that you love every single day while you're on this earth. Don't waste another moment. So listen to every episode and be inspired by all my guests who are doing just that, including Darius Murray, who is the guest on this episode. Darius is the Clinical Mentoring Associate for FAU's CARD program. FAU is Florida Atlantic University, located right down here in Boca Raton, Florida. And their CARD program is their Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. And what he does is he works specifically with the iRise 2 mentoring program. So he matches protégés who have autism with really killer, awesome mentors. And the great thing about it is that anybody can be a mentor. So, well, you still have to pass a background check, but he gets into a lot of how you shouldn't be intimidated or think that you don't really have anything to offer anybody, because pretty much anybody with something cool that they do or love, or, from teachers, chefs, mechanics, construction workers, anybody and everybody has something to offer a young protege with autism. So that is what we talk about on this podcast. So the kids here that they work with, they pair up, it starts at early at age 11 all the way through their early 20s. I think it ends at 21 or 22. It's a really great program, and Darius is a really, really great guy to be helping out with it. He has had a long-standing history in his life of doing a lot for others, and that's why I think he is one of the coolest people I've ever met. He's worked for the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County. He's worked for AmeriCorps. He was a big brother for the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, just like my brother. Shout out to my brother. So in this podcast, he talks a lot about his passion for volunteerism and why it means so much to him just in general. But mostly, we talk about the iRise 2 mentoring program and why it's so amazing and so important. So please listen to this podcast, and when you realize that, I could do that, and you're super interested, reach out to Darius. He can be reached at 561-213-6936 or by email at DMurra, DMURRA23, as he says, like Michael Jordan, at fau.edu. And also go check out the website, autism.fau.edu. Super easy to find. Darius is also on Instagram at MurrayDA85. And you can follow the CARD program on Twitter at card_@_FAU. Instagram, same thing. Facebook, look up the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities at Florida Atlantic University. And I believe they're also on YouTube, so look up Florida Card on YouTube and you will find them. And the iRise Mentor Program also has a Twitter account that I urge all of you to go and follow as well. It's iRise2 Mentoring. T-O is not how you want to spell it. It is the number. iRise2 Mentoring. This episode of Curve the Cube is brought to you by my wonderful friend and hairstylist and girl power inspiration piece, Janice Massey, and her salon. She specializes in natural hair care. She is located in West Palm, and she has a salon like no other. She is badass, and she knows how to do locks and twists and braids and you name it, she knows how to do it, and she knows how to take care of hair, and she's really, really cool and funny and nice, and I like her a lot. So go check out, look up, Google Janice Massey Salon. You can also look up Nappy Cuts, but I recommend just looking up Janice Massey Salon and give that girl her name recognition that she deserves. All right, and thank you to DJ John Hitta for the music beds. You can follow Janice Massey and DJ John Hitta on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. They all have all three of the above. And also, please follow Curve the Cube on the same. I'm also on Tumblr and Pinterest, and now on WordPress with a brand new blog. Yeah, go sign up. I think that's it. So I'm going to shut up now and say sit back and relax and enjoy the 75th episode of the Curve the Cube podcast with the uber inspirational Darius Murray of FAU CARD program and their iRise 2 mentoring program. Enjoy. Curve the cube will now initiate. Hi!
How you doing?
You heard my clip clop.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good, I'm happy
Great
you
to
found
see
it.
you.
Yeah.
I should have left like breadcrumbs though from the elevator.
Yeah, you definitely
Just
do.
to make sure.
Please have a seat.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm pretty well.
Good. So, let me ask you, is it Darius or Darius?
Depends on where you're from, but it's Darius. Yeah. Both are acceptable.
Okay.
Growing up, I spelled it with one R. So there's Darius and then there's Darius.
Gotcha.
Just growing up in Miami, people give
Can I
you
borrow this?
all kinds of, go for
Okay.
it. All kinds of little, they pronounce your name differently. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, so that's where you grew up, Miami?
Yeah, I grew up in Miami.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Florida.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Were you born in Miami?
Yeah. Born in Miami. I went to school down there, and then I went ahead and went to college up in Tampa at the University of South Florida.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like blinding me. It's right in my eye. Right in my eyeball. Like, oh my gosh. Much better. Thank you. No, that's good enough. Yeah, thank you so much. Oh yeah, I was like blinded by the light.
We get to see the runway and then the sunshine.
Oh, the runway?
Yeah, there's an airport.
Boca Airport?
Right here. Yeah. So did you know the university actually used to be a Air Force base?
You know what? I think I did hear that a long time ago.
Yeah, so there's certain parts of the university that you can actually stand in when you look out some of the classroom windows, you can see kind of that placement of like an Air Force base.
Yeah, I think I saw like a map that shows that.
Yeah, really interesting little history there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. No, interesting. Well, welcome to the podcast. You know, I'm already recording.
Yeah.
Good. We jump right on in.
Right into it.
Right on in. So I'm going to start a little from left field.
Okay.
But I couldn't help but notice from your Instagram that you're a huge fan of like comic books and superhero stuff and so I can't help but wonder. Oh, I didn't even notice. Let me see if okay, my son will kill me if I don't get these right. Top left is Batman. Underneath him is Iron Man. Bottom right is the Flash.
Yes, ma'am.
Top right. Oh, I don't know who is
Star
that?
Wars.
I was gonna say Boba Fett, but I don't think that's right.
No, it's not Boba Fett.
No.
It's just I actually got this at PalmCon.
I was gonna.
Yeah. I was like, oh, what a great way to decorate my office.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay, so in my defense for my listeners, these are like kind of weird corner shots of partial faces of superheroes. So I hope I didn't totally lose my nerd card just then, because I cherish that.
We'll give you a pass.
Thank you. Yeah, so you were at PalmCon, and that's where we met. And so I couldn't help but wonder when I saw your Instagram, like, okay, were you there half for your table that you were running and then half for your interest in the Comic-Con world?
Well, a little bit of both, actually.
Yeah.
You know, it allows me to relate to the population and the culture.
True.
But at the same time, we know that a lot of individuals with autism are really talented in those areas of the arts and the sciences. So I was able to actually see a lot of our constituents just kind of bloom and blossom in that environment.
Right,
just making friends and playing games with strangers and connecting. Yeah, so it's nice to be able to see them connect with something that they're very interested in. And it's something that they're very passionate about, whether if they have made a costume that's got these animatronic arms, or if they're just like dressed up and got some really cool makeup on, whatever it may be, just seeing them take that and apply it. That means that this individual has the ability to be creative and they have skills that can be utilized, and they just kind of need to be focused a little better.
Absolutely. And in an environment like that, they get that whole, they can relate to all these other people, then they now see, oh, other people are into this, and maybe it helps bring them out of a shell or something like that.
Most definitely, yeah.
Were there some of your constituents, as you called them, were they there that day?
Yeah, actually, I believe when I met you, there was one of our protégés was hanging out with me that day. Again, I just thought it would be a great day for him to do that rather than hang out at home all day.
Yeah.
To come in and tell everybody about his experience as a protege in the program, and to kind of get to meet new people and to see all the games and everything that they have going on. He was very excited about the Batmobile there.
That was a really cool Batmobile. I think they also had a oh my gosh, here we go. Tossing my nerd card again in the wind. The Ecto-1. They had the Ecto-1 there too. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, they were pretty cool. And especially as we get ready for the new release of Ghostbusters and everything.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I can hardly contain myself. The more I see like little clips and stuff from it or interviews, I'm like, yes.
It's been so long. Way overdue.
Way overdue. And my son just discovered, literally within the last like 2-3 weeks, just discovered. So randomly he'll be in the apartment, he'll just start saying, "It's something strange," and then I know I have to chime in, "Ghostbusters!" It's awesome. So much fun. So I'm so excited. So I was really happy that I met you there. I went there kind of half and half to just enjoy I should say third. Third to just enjoy the Comic-Con for myself. I love that stuff. A third to people watch because it's fascinating.
Yes, it is.
And the third to scope out for guests.
Awesome.
So, because I figure if they're there, they're probably passionate about something, and that's who I want on my podcast. And I was so excited to meet you there.
Awesome.
So,
well,
welcome, Darius, to
Thank
the
you.
podcast.
I'm happy to be a guest.
Yay! So you were there. You were running a table for FAU's centers. Well, I'm going to get to iRise in a second, but just more broadly, the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. What exactly is that, and how does that fit into FAU as a whole?
So, I'll give you the big story. We got about an hour, right?
Yeah, we have time. Flesh it out.
So there are actually 7 card centers throughout the state of Florida. Essentially, every major university has a card center. So we have the University of Florida card, we have FSU card, UCF card, FAU card, which is us, Nova card. We have the University of West Florida, and then we also have, who am I missing here? I think that's all.
I think that was
That's it, actually.
I think so, yeah.
So each university has a card center, and each card center is kind of paired into a different department, whether it be psychology, whether it be an education department, whatever it may be, and we're housed at the university. Our job at CARD is to provide support for families to help these their individuals, our constituents, reach their full potential. The way we do that, we provide trainings, consultation. We do not provide any type of direct services such as counseling or therapy, but we can link you to the right
referrals.
The referrals.
Yeah.
If you can imagine someone who has autism and they need to get a teeth cleaning, and then being able to go to the dentist drives me crazy when I'm in the waiting room and I'm listening to someone with the drill. Now let's take another step and look at a doctor who has experience working with these individuals and can understand that this child is not being difficult.
Right.
There's a lot going on, and it's a sensory overload for them.
Right.
So being able to find someone who can understand there, then also being able to find someone who teaches individuals how to drive.
Right.
Individual told me, I won't let them go unless, I am sure and confident that they're able to drive and drive for others just as well as themselves. I said, what's the longest student you've ever had? 5 years.
Wow.
5 years. And I was like,
that's patience.
That's patience right there.
I love that.
Just getting that type of, helping families to find those type of providers in the community is what we're all about. This month we have several different things going on. We have our Family Connections event, is a conference where we invite families to come out and just kind of hear and learn about what's going on in autism. One of the big things right now is bullying. So we bring in speakers from across the country, locally and nationwide. We provide different trainings, we provide different programs in the community. Our job is to help these individuals reach their full potential, however we can.
Yeah.
One of the best things that we do as an agency is we have the ability to work well with the school system. Because we're funded by the Florida Department of Education, which is our main funding source, it allows us to be able to connect with the schools and to go in and help in that setting. We have to be invited. It's not just, hey, we're here because we have this client, but the school literally will reach out to us and say, hey, we want to train, 50 teachers who don't work with ESE students, and just the basics of what autism looks like and how they should work with these students. And this student's not being difficult or being defiant. This student may be just dealing with how to calm down from shifting from one class to another.
Right.
Different things like that.
Right.
Within the FAU card, so we're housed here at the FAU, Florida Atlantic University in the Boca campus. We have 3 offices. We have an office in Jupiter, and then we have another office in Port St. Lucie. We cover 5 counties, so that's Palm Beach, Indian River, Martin, Okeechobee, St. Lucie, and Port St. Lucie County. So we cover all those counties, and we have over 4,000 individuals that are registered with us that have come to us and seek help, come to us looking for assurance in a service, looking for help and motivation, whether it be joining an adult group, coming to a presentation, joining our iRise 2 mentoring program. The best part about CARD is all of the services that we offer for the families are completely free.
High five to that.
Yeah, so families don't have to dish out money for the services that we offer. Unfortunately, we will recommend them to a provider, but our job is to link them with someone who will work with their insurance. So it's not just saying, hey, this is the person we have, and kind of it's what's there. No, we're going to work with you to find an insurance that's going to be able to work with that. Whenever a teacher or an educator were to come to CARD and they say, hey, we want some information, we want a training, we want whatever they would like, we do it completely free. We'll put together and we'll tailor a training just for that school, for that office, whatever it may be. The only time we technically really charge individuals is when we're issuing CEUs, or continuing education credits.
Okay.
Those are really great because last time I got a CE, I paid like $70 for it. Well, here you can get for it's $30 for 3 credits. So it averages out really well. And then on top of that, you're getting evidence-based material that's being brought to you under the scope of the university, under the scope of other organizations that are evidence-based, and they're practicing sound material. The cool thing about this CARD location is that we are actually located in the ESE department of the college. So we have the ability to really impact those teachers. Exceptional student education.
Okay.
So we have the ability to impact the teachers that are going to be working directly with our populations. So providing them with trainings and education is key. And then also we start to develop those relationships with these students as they come to us for maybe community service hours or internship opportunities. And then next thing you know, 2-3 years later, hey, Mr. Murray, I need you to come out and, we need your help in this class, or we're looking for this type of training, or this type of service for a family. We, are all here at the university. We work with other individuals and other agencies, and also departments within the university, which makes it really great because it actually expands our scope of who we're able to connect with, and sometimes some of the networking opportunities that we're able to get. And it's a really good deal actually for us. Yeah,
it sounds really great. So what exactly is so it's iRise 2. Okay, so what is what's with the 2? What is the 2?
So iRise stands for Interest in Relationships Impacting Social Engagement and Social Enrichment. Essentially what we're looking to do is to help make these individuals employable, as well as articulate conversation starters, helping them to build that confidence that they need to be able to walk into that room and say, hi, my name's Darius, and I'm here today because I'm really interested in this program that you have. Starting that general conversation can be very challenging for somebody on the autism spectrum. So what we do is we pair them with a one-on-one mentor in the community, an educated, older individual, and these are individuals that come from all walks of life. Whether it be business owners, artists, designers. I have an individual that works at a construction company, individuals who, whatever it may be. These are volunteers. These are passionate individuals that have been impacted by autism in some way, or they're just looking to expand their information and knowledge about it. They receive trainings from us. They have 5 different trainings throughout that one calendar year that we ask for a 1-year commitment, 4 to 6 hours a month. in between those 4 to 6 hours a month, you're working with your protege on socialization skills. You're teaching them how to jump in and jump out of a conversation. And that's something that we do every single day. Well, just kind of how we teach our siblings or maybe our children, oh, well, this is how you can walk up and talk to this person.
Social cues.
Just those social cues. I always tell individuals there's something that we do at least 3 times a week that you can take a younger person with you, whether it be getting an oil change, running errands, or even shopping at a health food store.
Yeah.
How many people will just streamline for the middle of the store where you have all the processed foods?
Right.
Well, we all know that it's better for us to stay on the outside. It's a little more expensive when we shop in the produce and everything like that. But
and harder because you keep having to pass the yummy looking processed food as you're walking around.
And you're like, oh man, well, I can make potatoes in a box and it's half the price of one potato.
Right.
So, but it's just understanding, how to navigate a grocery store, and then understanding how to actually approach someone if you need some help. We have many individuals, sometimes just they'll go to the store and they'll circle a store many times before they even say I need help, or they'll just leave because that social communication aspect can be very challenging for them, and it builds up a lot of anxiety. So giving them that confidence, pairing them with a mentor, exploring jobs out in the community, figuring out exactly how do you put together a resume, how do you tie that first tie, what's the best introduction, and what's your elevator pitch, helping them to understand that and why it's important, along with those nonverbal cues in communication is going to be pivotal for them to be able to succeed. We know that just like any job, you have to have social skills. If you don't have social skills, you may be able to start there, but in 3 months, unfortunately, we might be looking for another location for you to work. So helping them to build those social skills is going to be very important for them to maintain that job in the long run.
Right. So the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, I couldn't help but wonder, what are some related disabilities?
So when we say related disabilities, the way that it works is if an individual comes into us and they say, let's say they have 2 disabilities, so deaf and blind, that would be considered a related disability that can cover under our grant. But we also look at, so we have autism, we have PDD and OS, we have Rett syndrome. There's different things that fall under that scope. There's also ADHD, along with another impairment, would be able to be covered under our grant, so the family can receive free services. The way we kind of define related disabilities we look for autism. We're looking for disabilities that are covered under the scope of our funding, but we can always work with the parents to kind of define exactly how this impacts the individual and how we can help them.
Essentially, is it like disorders that or disabilities that impact someone's their ability to be and have a flourishing life and that type of stuff?
Most of the things we do see are disorders that do impact that communication aspect, that socialization routine that individual may have. But we also see disabilities that will impact their frame of sight, their way of hearing. Disabilities that may just simply impact their way of digesting things. These are all things that come about with those related disabilities and how they are impacted by autism. So the truth is once you meet one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. And it's the best thing in the world because I get to meet so many different people, and each individual I get to meet has a different skill or different trait, and they're proud of it. Whether it be telling me about a character from a cartoon, or whether it be coming in here and sketching out a really cool Tyrannosaurus Rex. Whatever it may be, these individuals have something to offer. And if we can just tap into that and help them turn that interest into something functional that can be employable, wow. Now we have somebody who's ready to go to work. Well, now our job is to work with the mentors. So those 5 trainings that they get 5 trainings. You get one-on-one support from me and my staff, our staff here at FAU CARD. And then you also receive, we take our matches out to one activity every month. So a free activity in the community.
Like a group activity?
Yeah, this was a painting activity. We did art therapy with the kids.
Oh, fun, nice.
I actually did that one myself.
Very good, very nice. There should be a frame around it. It's lovely.
Be, but so we did that last week. We went on a nature hike. Nice. So different activities that are going to bring about the social aspect, but also bring everybody together. So that way mentors understand that your protege may have had a hard time may have had a hard time getting out of bed today, but they got out of bed and they came because they wanted to hang out with you.
Yeah.
But just know that there's another mentor that may be dealing with the same challenge, and knowing that there's someone else dealing with the same challenge, but you're able to see, the success that they're making.
Yeah.
Your protégés walking up and just introducing themselves to other people. They want to be the number one helper in the group. That protégé is advocating for others now. That protégé is standing up for others. Those are the things that we're looking for. That's building that confidence. That's building the ability to know that I can do anything. And you know what? I may have a disability, but I just do things differently from others. That's all it is. When we look at our protégés, we're looking at individuals from the age of 11 to 22, which is really cool when we look at our program. Currently, there's only about a handful of programs that offer mentoring for individuals on the autism spectrum in the country. We're the only program in the state of Florida that we know of today.
Wow.
So that makes us pioneers, but also it makes it exciting to the information and the development that we have as we look forward to bring the program to other CARD centers and throughout the community. We work with individuals, again, 11 to 22 years old. So it's not, hey, at 18, you no longer can be supported by our funding. The grant funders say we can't support you. No, we work with individuals throughout the lifespan, which gives CARD a very unique position. So the youngest person we probably have registered with us is about 2 years old. The oldest is in their 80s. So that person, that family can come and register with that child when they're 2 years old, and they may never need support from CARD until that child's 14 years old. But we can pick up as if it was the same day. Maybe a new clinician, but their information's there. All we had to do is a couple updating an email address and an address, and we can go ahead and move forward and give them the support that they need.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How do you guys pair your mentors with your protégés?
So it's all done based on interests. So we use interest along with location and also the age. The goals of the mentor. We want to make sure that the goals of the mentor and the protégés kind of complement each other. We want to make sure that they're able to kind of really yoke well as an organic friendship. Our job is to find the mentors and to make the matches. We're there to help them throughout the match and provide them with strategies, tips, and trainings. But if we can hit more of those points, the way that relationship's going to form, it's going to be kismet. Essentially, it's just going to happen.
One of my favorite words, by the way. Love that word.
And it happens all the time, and it just gives me goosebumps. It's like, wow, these two individuals are working so well together, and now they're feeding off of each other, and so they can be having a conversation, and the protégé is finishing the conversation, and those just want to jump in, and it's just kind of like, wow, that this protégé wasn't able to do that. This protégé didn't even have the confidence to walk up and introduce themselves to someone. But now, with the help of the mentor, and then the help of CARD, and then the help of the family, and then with the complementing of what's going on in the schools, guess what? We have a whole ecosystem now that's supporting this protégé. So now they've also built a support system, but they built friends and role models in the community.
How does someone get involved as a mentor? I mean, it kind of, from what way you're describing it kind of sounds like anybody can be a mentor who has the willingness to do it. Because sometimes people feel like they don't want to get involved because they don't feel like they have anything to offer, but it sounds like anybody could find something that they have to offer, from those basic everyday things to something unique about themselves.
Yeah. So anybody can be a mentor, essentially. As long as you can pass level 2 background screening.
Yeah, of course. Anybody with quotes around it, right?
So there are certain criteria that we do have. So there's a level 2 background screening. We do a driver's record check. We check 3 references. We want 2 personal references and 1 professional reference. There's a 1 hour and 30-minute interview. And then there's a 1 hour and 30-minute orientation. And that's just to get them started. Once we go through that whole enrollment process with them, and the mentor is registered and they pass the background screening, we then bring them in and we say, all right, well, these are the individuals that we think you're going to go work well with. I try to have at least 2 protégés for the mentor, and then 2 mentors for each protégé I profile. But unfortunately, with the dynamics of volunteering and basically attracting the right mentors, we don't always have that available. But when I do build that profile for that mentor, I'm calling the parents, or I'm talking to the parents, and we're talking about what this mentor's the main reason why they're joining the program, because they've been impacted by autism. They want to explore autism more because it's becoming more prevalent. This individual doesn't want to just go to work and come home. They want to get involved, and this is a charity that they've chosen, whatever it may be, a former teacher, a former counselor, whatever. We try to really focus that with the parents, and then also we chime in with how this person's going to be able to help your child. So ideally, with any mentor, when you hear a mentor, and you think of mentoring in the last, let's say, 100 years and how it's developed, we think of a younger person, a college-age student. And we, as a parent, you get excited. You're like, oh, you're going to hang out with a cool, hip, college-age person that's going to know about pop culture and all these things. But the truth is that same person is growing, and they're learning. They're trying to figure out where they fit in the community. They have a great heart, and they may want to do this. They may be committed to it. But if I have a mentor who's a retired teacher, who's been working in the ESC field for 20, 30 years. This person also may own a business. This person also may have a grandchild or a child on the spectrum. So they have, wow, look at the impact that this person can have. Well, I know how to navigate the world. I also know how to help your child in the educational way. And then I also understand how autism impacts. So me and mom can now have a more personal connection. Me and the family can really relate because I know so much. But at the same time, that open heart and being able to understand, because our parents are our protégés' biggest advocates. So for a mentor to be able to really get along with a family, that's important. For a mentor to be able to say, okay, Mr. Murray, I need help. Can you guide me on how to, do proper introductions with my protégé? Those are things that we're looking for. Just so, in generally, someone who's open, someone who's patient, someone who's willing to give the relationship a chance. It's a 1-year commitment, 4 to 6 hours a month. Like I said, we do so many things in the community that we can take a younger person with us. I always say to getting an oil change, because you sit there and you're just twiddling on your phone or you're watching TV and you're looking at the coffee that you're just wondering, how suspicious is this coffee? It looks like it might be a couple days old. But I could be working with a protégé. We could be throwing a football in the parking lot. We could be walking around the shopping center and just having conversation about what's going on in your life. How did this week go for you? Or you did what? Well, how did that make you feel? Or what did you get out of that feeling? Those are things that we're looking for with our mentors.
Yeah, because, while you're talking, I'm thinking, like, if someone is, let's say, they're a chef, that they have interest in being a mentor, there could be a protégé who has aspirations of being a chef, and that's all they need is that extra time, extra attention, extra focus, that one-on-one relationship to blossom and really feel like that's something that they can achieve and cut out those hard edges and really help them.
I mean, they say food helps to break barriers.
Oh, yes, it
does. So think about the barriers it can...
It does. Very interesting relationship with food. I love it, love it, love it.
And if you think about the barriers we can break down when we're teaching someone how to have appropriate conversations, understand what's the difference between a work relationship and a friendship in the community, understanding, the appropriate attire that you may need to wear to work, understanding how to present this food. Well, let's present it, but we gotta dress it up nicely. It's not just plating it; it's making it sound great too. Because anybody can make spaghetti, but if you make spaghetti with, I don't know, whatever
shiitake mushroom sauce.
Exactly. It may sound 10 times better. And it may completely be a vegetarian spaghetti, but you fooled me and I'm in.
And even just the process of we keep using cooking, but the process of cooking and experiencing, I'm thinking, I don't know personally too much about autism, but I'm thinking the play on the senses, the sights, the sounds, the smells, all of that, feeling the textures of the food. I'm thinking all of that can really help in some way.
Well, it's really interesting that you bring that up, because many of our individuals kind of struggle with the sensational feelings of certain foods. So mushy foods may not be something they want to deal with. Vegetables, sometimes casseroles with things mixed in there. So understanding exactly, well, it started out like this, and then it ends up like this. Wow, okay. Well, how can we... Now I understand, okay, it's the same thing, it's just cooked differently.
Scary,
yeah, it's a little less scary, but then they're able to go to home and say to mom and dad or to their friends or their brothers and sisters, well, did you really know this about artichokes?
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, how, if you had to kind of gauge what percentage of your mentors do have a personal relationship to autism, what would you say that percentage probably might be?
I would say maybe about 60% of them have been impacted by autism in some way, whether it's someone they work with or a sibling, whether it be a niece or a nephew, whatever it may be. They've come across autism in that way, and they thought, well, this would be a great way for me to just really just develop an understanding, but also help someone. I've got these great skills. Let's not harness them here. Let's let them go.
Exactly. Do a lot of your mentors come from the FAU community, or?
So we do have individuals from the FAU community. A lot of, like I said, some of our mentors just walk different lives. So they come from all over the gamut.
Right.
I had someone come in that was a gemologist.
No kidding.
And I was like, whoa. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You hear about these individuals and you see them on the TV. Unless you're in the market for any jewelry or something like that, you don't really do that. You're not really exposed to them. And then on top of that, he was an auctioneer.
No kidding.
This guy has the ability to talk extremely fast and be articulate with those words, and then have a real serious, hilarious play on words in between. So if you think about the confidence that he can give a protege, that'd be awesome. You can be my mentor.
Yeah, right? I want to sign up.
We get individuals throughout the Palm Beach County area. We get individuals from the Broward County area that are just like, this is a great program, and I want to get involved. Unfortunately, we only have the program here in Palm Beach.
What are the biggest challenges that you guys have to overcome as a organization?
I think as an organization, some of the biggest challenges is making sure we're getting the right information out in the community and making sure that people have an understanding of who we are as an organization and the impact that autism has on the other individuals. As a program, one of the biggest challenges is recruiting mentors and the best mentors. Like I said, anybody can be a mentor. But this is a really big commitment. You're working with someone who does have a disability, but this individual wants to grow. I mean, it's like that rose that just started budding between the concretes. They just want that exposure, and if you give them a little sunshine and hope, they're gonna go. So recruiting mentors, especially men, we know that autism impacts more boys than girls, so we're always looking for male mentors. We're always looking for males to get involved in general. Right. So, any time that we're able to really get out there and do tablings or just get a couple of minutes on the microphone or seconds on the microphone, talk about our program, we're all about that. This is a great way to really just kind of build that inclusive culture for individuals on the autism spectrum. And like I was saying, these mentors go to classes, they get trained. So now they're taking this information from the trainings, they're applying it with their proteges, and then these are skills that they can take with them to work with their own children, to work with individuals in the community, but then we're building an understanding culture at their office, at their jobs. So now hopefully they're employing that individual. I had a mentor tell me that she works at a location where they have it's a trial to work program for individuals with disabilities, and a young lady came in with autism, and the mentor said, I knew there was something interesting, there was something about this individual that reminded me of my protege, but I couldn't put it, and I didn't want to, pass judgment. But she got to know the individual, and the individual came in one day, and she may not have been looking the best for that work location. And when I say that, maybe she had on a purple shirt with yellow pants, something that just probably wasn't the best coordinated, and it wasn't accepted. But then the next day she came in and she really tried really hard with her outfit, and she announced it, and then some of the people in the office kind of played off about it, like, oh, okay, yeah, you look fine. But the mentor said, I was able to talk with them and say, if you give her a task, don't just tell her what to do. Walk her through it. Be patient. Maybe even if you just list it out, step 1 through 5, just
be
like
explicit.
Be very explicit. Be very concrete with what you're saying. But then on top of that, when she comes in and she says, "Hey guys, look at my outfit today," encourage that, because this individual is trying to really fit in with the culture here.
Right.
When they're only here for part-time.
Right.
But they really want to fit in.
Right.
And that's the attitude. That's the experience that she was able to carry over to her workplace and then change the perception of other individuals there while enriching that individual's workplace.
Right. It's the drop in the water that then spreads.
Exactly. That ripple just really happens really well. And then coincidentally, we were able to go back into that organization. We were invited to do tabling with them. We work with them now. They have chosen us as a charity, so
That's
they
great.
kind of recognize us.
That's great.
So it's all about that perception we were able to help change with that mentor, but it didn't start there. It was giving her the opportunity to be able to reflect there in the office place.
Yeah, that's great. How did you get involved with this?
Oh man. So me and mentoring have a long life.
I saw that.
I actually was a little brother in the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program when I was matched in the 5th grade. I still talk to my mentor today.
Aww. Yeah, my brother's a big brother, and he's for years.
Awesome.
And I want to say at least for 10 or 15 years now, something like that. Shout out to Ronald. He's his little brother.
Thank you, Ronald.
Well, Ronald's the little brother. My brother's Gerard, but shout out to both of them, Gerard and Ronald. And yeah, to this day, they still are like best buds. You know, they go out and hang out still to this day. Yeah.
And I think it was that relationship that, gave me some insight on what these relationships we have and we establish in the community are and what the purpose of them are. A little bit about me. I have 4 sisters.
Wow.
So single
Where do
mom,
you fall in the...
I was the second oldest, so I'm a little big brother. Single mom, and one day in school, the guidance counselor, she gives me this form and she's like, "Have your mom complete this." She gave me a little bit of information about it. She told me it's for a mentor, you'd be really good for this. And we completed the form. I was on a wait list for about 2 years, completely forgot about it. And then I get a phone call that we found this really cool person for you. Yeah. And he's from Virginia. He's educated. He works in education and this and that and all this really cool stuff. And I was like, where's Virginia? I'm from Miami. Is that down the street?
Right.
In elementary school, you're thinking, what is this? So
Virginia Avenue, where is that?
Yeah. So I met Josh, and if he was here, he would tell you, he's like, in the beginning of the relationship, he goes, "I thought Darius would test me," and I think with any relationship, kids do that. Yeah. And
please, my kid tests me every day.
He always brings up the fact when we went bowling for the first time, I would do the granny bowl. And it's all I really knew.
Right, it's natural.
I was a little linky kid.
Totally
I didn't have the
natural.
dexterity or the strength to like fling a bowling ball.
Right. You need both hands on that thing.
Yeah. And then he finally realized he just doesn't know another method of bowling.
Right.
And then I ended up going to bowling camp one year.
No kidding.
So, I worked with Josh up until I was about 18 years old. We were matched, and then he has been recently rematched, I think, twice now.
Wow.
He's taken on 2 other littles, and he works
That's
with
so
them.
cute, littles.
Yeah, so that's how
So you call them your step littles? Have you ever met them? Your half littles.
Half littles. And they're great kids. One of them is getting ready to go off to FSU, and then another one, he's going to start at Miami-Dade College. And I just think it's awesome. Yeah. And
it can really change the trajectory of a kid's life.
It can. It's not the magic bullet. It's not going to solve all the problems, but it does open that perspective that you do have. Going to college was something that I heard about. Going to college was something that I was like, yeah, that'd be cool. But when between Josh and my mom kind of really pounding constructive, criticism, as well as, those ideas that you could do something, you could be more. Yeah. Here I am working on my 3rd degree.
I know.
So it's just like one of those things that I love college. I love school. I love being in the classroom. I like talking to people and hearing young minds. I just hate writing papers.
Darn you, papers.
If there was a gift and a curse, that would be it. Met Josh, and then graduated out of the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program at 18 years old. Then I did 2 years at Miami-Dade College, and then I transferred up to the University of South Florida in Tampa. There I did a lot of volunteering, and that's one thing that I've always been really passionate about is volunteering. I was, I'm not sure if you know the Silver Knight Award down in Miami.
No.
It's one of the highest awards you can get for your dedication to service in the community.
No way.
I did 700.
High five again.
Yeah. I did 700 hours of community service in high school.
What?
I credit a lot of that to, just one, Josh opening up my perspective about, hey, I can go and volunteer and work with animals. Like, I can't take them home, but I could work with them.
Right.
That's cool.
Right.
So I was
the whole giving back concept and getting out of your bubble.
Getting out of my bubble. That's the key right there. And I got responsibilities. I had to take one bus and then the train and then cross a major highway.
Stop it.
And I did that all on my own. I mean,
my
this is like later on in high school.
Yeah.
But it was just like, if you would have known me when I was a little rambunctious, kind of cavalier individual, my mom would never let me do that until I showed her this level of maturity.
But not to cut you off, I think what I'm realizing as you're talking is being a mentor and opening a kid up to all these other opportunities to give back. I think it does two things. It gives them the essence that they matter.
Yes.
Because they now have a responsibility. Other people and animals are relying on them, and so it builds up the confidence because they matter. But I also think it builds up the confidence because you're exploring all these other skills and learning all these other things that you can do. So it's really great.
And just kind of really expanding that bubble.
Yeah.
Getting it to where you want it to burst.
Yeah.
Opening up, and providing these individuals with just the opportunity to explore. There's so many things you can do out in Palm Beach County. Each month we put together a calendar. I kid you not, it's got over 16 to 20 pages of free low-cost activities. And when I say free, I mean absolutely free. Low cost, nothing more than $12 that you can do with a young person. I can make sure you get one. That you can do with a young person in Palm Beach County, ranging from alligator feedings to book readings to art walks, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And it's all just exposing them to what the community has available. So I went to school, studied, became a professional, started to pay bills. And
grown-up stuff.
I was looking for another opportunity, and I decided to join the AmeriCorps for the second time, where I worked with the Homeless Coalition of Palm Beach County, and that's how I got back to Palm Beach, or South Florida.
You're clearly one of the most selfish people in the county.
Try. Working with the Homeless Coalition opened my eyes up to, when you hear Palm Beach on a TV. You hear Miami.
You think luxury
you
and
hear luxury,
certain lifestyle.
Exactly.
And,
so there's a homeless population.
Caviar wishes and whatever that line was
exactly.
back in the day.
Whatever it may be, there is a population here that needs our help.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Sorry, I had to get that right.
Champagne wishes and caviar dreams. All right.
Go ahead.
But a lot of people are not having the champagne wishes nor the caviar dreams. I think that the truth is that these individuals, we are all one paycheck away from becoming homeless. Coming out of college, learning that was really insightful and helped me to really understand that, it's not only budgeting for myself, but budgeting for my family and for my future. Things come up. And you graduate and you get your first big paycheck and you're like, because
you've never seen money like that before.
It could just be a couple $100, or it could finally hit the $1,000 bracket, and you're just like, but wait, I gotta pay that,
right?
And I gotta do this, and then I'm supposed to do this.
It flows out almost as fast as
it comes in. I did my AmeriCorps internships there, educating and helping to bring awareness to homelessness in the Palm Beach County area. Worked with the Philip D. Lewis Center for homelessness. Was a part of the initial opening for that. So we got to really see that place go from a building with no walls to a building that now houses individuals who are struggling with their homelessness. the only center in the state that actually will accept women without children who do not have an addiction. So a lot of really good milestones there. Then I joined Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Can I ask you a question real quick about, since you have such a background with working with homelessness, and do you know, because it's one thing I've always wanted to do ever since like literally it was probably a day one thought in my head when I found that I was going to have a baby 4+ years ago now. Well, I guess it would be 5 years ago. 9 months included. Was I really want to take him or her to a soup kitchen and be part of that. I've always envisioned that as a giving back thing that I want to do with my child. Do you know, I have never looked into it, but I just can't help but pick your brain. Do you know how old someone has to be to participate in that?
It sounds like you got a really young one.
He's only 4.
He's only 4. But this is what I challenge you to do.
Yeah.
When's his birthday?
He just turned 4 in March.
Just turned 4 in March. All right. So maybe next year for his next birthday or next time he has a big celebration, I challenge you to have a theme called Raid My Pantry. So raid your parents' pantries for the soaps that they bring home from the hotels, the canned goods that you're not going to use. And a lot of people don't realize this, but don't give the Homeless Coalition expired food. But
right.
Don't throw your canned goods away if they're expired because they're good for one whole year after that. So going into the pantry, going into the cabinets and getting those things that are just kind of like taking up space. Right. Putting them in a bag and putting them into a comfort kit for someone who's homeless. That's always a great idea. And young Girl Scouts and Boy Scout groups, they always take on projects like that. Yeah. They do have a clothing closet where they're constantly receiving donations, and any individuals that come in there and kind of help, sort out different things and make sure that, everything can be reused in some way. That's always an opportunity. They do serve lunch in the Lewis Center, and that's always an opportunity there. Unfortunately, I think he does have to be a little older. Yeah, probably. But like I said, if you get people to donate things,
right?
And then you get people to donate things for his birthday or for whatever it may be. I don't know if you want to take away his birthday this early. No. But whatever it may be.
Never too early for a good lesson.
Never too early. Or he can even do that as a project with his class.
Right.
And then the Homeless Coalition can come out and they can give a presentation on who are the individuals that are going to be impacted by your donation. What are some of the things that people struggle with when they're homeless?
Right.
What are some of the ways that you can prevent your homelessness? And how do you connect other individuals? And I can definitely make sure I put you in touch with Michelle Howell. She is with the Homeless Coalition, and she does a great job at organizing and coordinating volunteers there. So they're always looking for people to help there.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. So you were about to explain that you...
so to make a short story longer, I joined Big Brothers and Big Sisters where I worked on a mentor enhancement grant. And this grant was focused on building and educating mentors. How do we enhance the ability to connect with that family? You already have someone who's already within the home that's working with the family, that's working with that one individual. Well, what happens when we give this individual a list of resources that the family can benefit from? What happens if we teach this individual how to have these conversations with young people, giving them training on financial literacy in a scope of a younger mind and how to teach that? So providing those type of evidence-based trainings and support for those mentors. I did that for about 2 years, and then after that I joined FAU CARD. And my background is in behavioral healthcare and interpersonal communications. I'm now getting my master's in rehab counseling. And so I saw the opportunity. One, I was really interested in autism.
Do you have a background in it?
No background, just disabilities in general. Helping people with disabilities has always been something that I've always just really enjoyed. Conversations, whether it be good conversations or bad conversation, what's the daily struggle, understanding what their hopes and dreams are and kind of putting in the perspective of what mine are and how they're still dreaming big regardless. And why should I stop myself? Like you learn so much and it helps you to be a better person. Right. And I saw an opportunity to work for CARD, and I went ahead and applied. And here I am today We developed the iRise 2 mentoring program. Like I said, one of the only in the state, 5 in the country. We are an evidence-based program. We're now funded by the United Way. And we're making matches in the community and seeking mentors to change lives.
I do. You mentioned the United Way. I think it's kismet that you and I are sitting down having this conversation, even though it won't come out till Monday. But we're sitting down and having this conversation during the day of the Great Give. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we are registered in the Great Give.
Yeah.
Anybody can donate to FAU card through the Great Give. They would have to donate to the foundation, but declare the funds to go to FAU card. We take donations all year round.
Yeah.
But the Great Give is a great way for individuals to kind of see what kind of nonprofit organizations are out there in the community and what are truly some of their struggles.
Right.
What are their needs. I always tell individuals, and we kind of can go back to the background screening. Just because you may not be able to pass a background screening doesn't mean that there's not a way that you can get involved with the organization.
Right.
You may may not be able to donate your time one-on-one, but maybe there's a service. Maybe you have a business. Maybe you want to organize a car wash. Maybe you have a skill. Come teach Spanish, in a supervised setting. There's so many different things that you can do. Don't just kind of limit yourself because I may have a DUI or there may be something there. We can work with you. It doesn't mean that we're going to accept everybody. But don't let that limit you, because just like I work with volunteers here, there are also other programs that I'm knowledgeable of that you can work with and help also.
Absolutely. The point is just find a way to give back and give back.
Exactly. And don't take no for an answer. Well, you do need to take no for an answer. But, don't count yourself out unless you really lift up all the rocks,
Right. So you're getting your master's in, is it rehabilitation counseling, right?
Yes.
What is that?
So rehab counselors work with individuals in different realms. They not only work with individuals who may be struggling with an addiction, but let's say you have someone who is exiting the hospital into maybe a care facility, a nursing home, and they have had a traumatic brain injury. Well, the rehab counselor can work with them in that setting to kind of make sure we get all the services in place. The rehab counselor will work with individuals with autism, helping them to find their address those interests that they have and how it can align with a job and a career, doing different assessments and workplace experiences. Rehab counselors are, just about, there are very few of us. FAU is actually ranked, I believe it's number 14 in the country, our rehab counseling program. So, we're very proud of that. As a rehab counselor, you are a counselor, essentially. You have the ability to do counseling. You have the ability to have your own private practice. I picked rehab counseling because I didn't want to be defined by the label of a counselor, just a generic licensed mental health counselor. And they're not just a licensed mental health counselor, but I wanted to do something that was going to give me the ability to be flexible in any population. I wanted to do something that was going to give me the ability to be innovative in my process and my delivery of treatment. Whether I'm here helping to create an action plan or with strategies for an individual, helping them to become reacquainted with other individuals in the community and build their self-esteem and that social cognition, those social cognitive skills that they need. Or if I'm actually working with someone who may have issues with mobility or may be missing a limb or unable to see, different things, whatever it may be, there's a method, and there's a method to all the madness and how we can train these individuals so that way they can be employees and maintain their independence. And that's the key, is giving them the ability to maintain their own independence so they don't have to live with mom, dad, uncle, and aunt or live at a group home. These individuals have the ability to manage their own funds, call ahead for a ride if they need it, or whatever it may be. I wanted to be able to be a part of that. I have a really big, it's kind of like an itch. It's a really big itch for technology. So being able to introduce technology into the rehab field, and we see this in how we look at, someone who, for instance, may be confined to a wheelchair. let's say they're confined to a wheelchair, but they still have the use of their arms. And, you know, this individual with a little bit of training could be writing the same application that took us, that got you here today.
Right.
With a little bit of training, they could be tech support.
Right.
Giving them that confidence that you can do this.
Absolutely.
It doesn't, you don't have to do things. I was at a workshop, and these individuals were making, it was a sheltered workshop, and essentially in those workshops, they have a task, so they get paid a small amount for helping to put together a large product. And that day, they were putting together some visors, and they had basically created accommodations for someone. The individual had cerebral palsy, and he was confined to the wheelchair. He still had the use of his fingers and his arms. He could still use them with some limitations. And he kind of sat in a chair kind of sideways. But to help him and to complement that, they put a mirror. They attached a mirror to a wall. And he was able to look at the mirror and then use his hands with the limited amount of mobility he has with his hands. And he was just knocking them out left and right. And I'm like, whoa.
That made a whole huge difference.
A huge difference. Just that one accommodation.
Wow.
And he walks out of there, or he leaves there thinking, I did something today.
Yeah.
I mattered. What I did, it now became a product.
Yeah.
And that's what really drew me to like the rehab world and working with individuals with
That's
disabilities.
awesome.
Yeah.
You know, you brought back a memory for me. I remember, because I've always had a soft spot for people who have special challenges, and that runs the gamut. I remember the first time it ever was a thought in my brain that of what people do when they grow up, and they've been dependent on their families their whole lives because of a certain disability. And I remember I was watching like a Dateline or 2020 or one of those shows, and they were talking about somebody who pioneered this program. He had a diner or some restaurant, and everyone who worked there pretty much had Down syndrome. And it was his way of giving these people the opportunity to be productive and independent and all of that. And it never occurred to me before that moment that, you know, you see kids with Down syndrome, what happens to them when they grow up? And you know, it typically is an extremely sad story, but I think in the last couple of decades, we've as a society have made strides to be a lot more inclusive and a lot more able to help people who have these challenges and help them figure out how to be productive and that gain that confidence that you were talking about. And yeah, that was that first moment for me that I ever thought about that. So like to circle it back to autism, you mentioned in the very beginning the autism spectrum, and I know that spectrum there's a huge variety of abilities or impact, I should say, that autism has on the individual and what their life will be like. What are can you describe a little bit more about the autism spectrum and what really that is?
So the way we define autism is that it's a neurodevelopmental disorder that impacts mainly two main areas: the inability to communicate effectively with others, and restricted interest and repetitive movements. Sometimes you will see like the flopping of the hands and that stimming. But the truth is, we all do that every day.
Right.
When you're in traffic, you may tap on the driving wheel. Or when you're sitting and you're taking a test, you may be tapping your pencil. That's a way of self-regulating. It's just done differently with our individuals. So we see how it impacts those key areas. So their abilities to make friends and to communicate effectively, to remain focused on a task. And then we see the spectrum. So all these different things fall under the spectrum, where they be PDD and OS, Rett syndrome, autism, ADHD. All those things fall within that umbrella. And it kind of just hits that category of autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. We see that it does impact more boys than girls. We see that 1 in 68 individuals are impacted by autism. You know, when the most important thing that we see with autism is these individuals have the ability to learn. They just learn differently. We see high, above average, or average intelligence. We see some areas where they excel, such as the arts, science, and music. We see other areas where there may be challenges. But most importantly, we see determination. We see character. We see the ability to love and be compassionate. And that's all we want in our friends and our family members.
You know, and you mentioned the 1 in 68, and I remember the first time I ever realized how big that number was. I think it was like it was an autism commercial. I think maybe it was like Ralph Lauren or something. And it was like, you know, the chance of a kid from New York, you know, realizing his fashion design dream, 1 in blah, 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 1,000. The chance of him, you know, designing his own line, because of 1 in, blah, blah, the chance of him having, being impacted by autism, 1 in 68, I guess. And it's striking, you know, how big that population is, and I feel like that number has been growing, but do you think it's been growing, it's been truly growing, or do you think it's just better recognized, or better able to recognize and test for it, or
I think there's a combination of both, actually.
Yeah.
I think that there are numbers out there, there is growth with the autism diagnosis. We are seeing more numbers, but we're also seeing the ability to diagnose more accurately, as well as to provide services and support for those families. So when you see that, we see that the need to educate the community, just like we're helping to change the mentor's perspective, we have to change the community's perspective. This is something that's not going away. Individuals with autism don't just disappear. They don't die. They continue to grow. They fine-tune those skills, and they want to make friends, and they want to do well in the community. We have individuals who walk among us here on the campus. They're students. They're doing well in classes. They're excelling, making the honor roll, whatever it may be. It's just helping them to define those goals and how to go about achieving them is a key choice there. You know, when you have more education, more publications, more information in general just available about autism, you have more clinicians and doctors that are trained in that area to be able to diagnose autism. One of the cool things that we do here at this CARD Center is that we also provide free screenings for families. There on any given day, we'll be set up to go. We have a cool van. It's an actual van.
It's not all white with like darkened windows. Like a creepy.
It's got a wrap on it. But you know, it's our card van, and it actually has a standalone room in the back where we can actually sit down and have a private conversation with the family. We take that van to do screenings out in the Belglade area. We'll take it to a library in West Palm Beach, and we'll set it up, and we'll just wait for individuals. We'll have appointments, but we'll also invite the public. If you want to know more about autism, or if you are seeing some signs in your child that you think could be, related to autism, they may not be hitting the milestones that they need to, connect with at this age. Just come on, we're here for help. And that makes it even easier and more convenient for the community. So autism is more prevalent because we are able to provide more sound diagnosis, but at the same time, there's more research being dedicated to the area of autism and the impact that it has on individuals.
So I would be completely remiss if I didn't touch on this sensitive subject, but I'm sure that it's come up in conversation many times before, but about vaccinations. And, I have, like you said, a small child, and he's currently not having to go through vaccines, but he had plenty of rounds when he was teeny weeny, and it's just this thing that you hear about, and there was some very vocal celebrities, and lots of controversy. So I know what my personal opinion is on the subject, but where do you stand, or where does your organization stand on the concept of vaccines and impacting autism?
I mean, just in an overall general standpoint, there's no empirical data that suggests that these vaccines do cause autism, or there's a significant link to autism.
The guy's evidence was totally...
Yeah. Well, he's no longer a doctor now.
Right.
So
that kind of speaks for itself.
That speaks for itself now. So it's like, okay, well, you came out and you had this huge, idea thinking that you basically unlocked the code, and unfortunately, you didn't do anything but stir up more fear and controversy.
And the terrible thing is the impact that's happening on when parents are thereby not getting their kids vaccinated, and you think about mumps and measles and these things that were pretty much gone.
I mean,
and
public
now they're
transportation, here. All these things. This is why, you and I can get on a bus and take a bus from one place to another because we've been vaccinated, because we were able to cope with some of the common things.
Right.
But if you don't have that in you, if you don't have those vaccines, you could be jeopardizing not only your health but others around you.
Right.
So I always say vaccinate your child.
Right.
There's nothing that shows that it's going to hurt them. So go ahead and do it. If anything, it's going to help them. Automatically, it's going to help them.
Right.
We always tell parents, and it just comes down to anyone who is making some type of decision about their care. Informed care is really important. So if you are a parent and you're pregnant and you're wondering, should I vaccinate my child? Should I do this? Get information. Give us a call.
Right.
Let us know what your concerns are, what your worries are.
Right.
We're not going to give you any advice on, they should have this shot at this time instead of this time. No, we're just going to educate you on the benefits of being vaccinated and the services that we can provide if, unfortunately, there is someone who's diagnosed with autism.
Right. It is a choice that every parent does have to make, but please make that an informed choice.
It needs to be an informed choice. Not just, I read it on the internet. Yeah, I read so much on the internet. It's... half the stuff is not true.
Try Googling yourself every once in a while. That'll sober you right up.
Exactly, right? So if you're going to take that with validity, then you need to give us a call and take our conversation with some validity also.
Right, absolutely. Well, also, I wanted to ask you one more thing. So last month, we just barely missed it, because I'm terrible at keeping in touch, and sometimes I really need to. But last month was Autism Awareness. So what were some of the special programs that you guys did, and what can people look forward to next April?
So, one of the cool things about CARD is that each semester, so spring, summer, and fall, we put on different trainings. There's currently 18 CARD staff that cover 5 counties. And we each put on about 3 to 4 trainings individually. So that creates a huge mecca of different educational opportunities for not only parents, but professionals in the community. I got you our summer training guide.
I'm doing the Cabbage Patch. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I got you some information about that, so that way if you want to inform your listeners about what we have going on.
Perfect.
I know over the next couple of months, we'll be having different trainings. We're doing one training. Our assistant, she's doing a training on the colors of the food and why certain food colors are important, and how to make a meal that's going to be sustainable not only for your hunger but the nutrition that you need for your body. We'll be doing resume and soft skills trainings. We always do trainings on just basics about autism spectrum disorder, grandparent trainings, whatever it may be. For this month, one of the things that we did highlight in April was our 30 for 30 campaign. We tried to piggyback off of the ending of March Madness to kind of get the guys in that sports field. 30 for 30. And our goal was to recruit 30 mentors in 30 days. We did just a little bit more than half of that, which was great. But we're still always looking for more and more mentors.
Right.
Also, we participated in several fundraisers. We had a fundraiser over at CPK, California Pizza Kitchen, where they donated a certain amount of money towards the daily orders to the FAU card.
Nice.
We also had different speaking engagements throughout the community. This Saturday, I was actually at Genesis Community Healthcare, at Genesis Community Health Fair over in the Delray Beach area, and we were talking about autism to individuals, letting families know about our services. These are free services. There's no gimmick here. We just want to help. And if we can't help you in this way, what else can we do? How can we point you in the right direction? So it kind of really runs the gamut. We have different programs, different presentations. Monthly, we do have an adult social group over in Jupiter, and then we have another social group down here in Boca. We also have an adult social group over in Port St. Lucie. What else do we do? Different, like I said, fundraisers. Fundraising is, any nonprofit, that's our bread and butter, just like our volunteers. So it's really important that we make sure we have sustainability. To be able to continue offering these great services.
Right.
Our parents are not millionaires, but we know that between childcare, therapy, medications, and this and that, it's going to cost more than millions. So providing any outlets, any trainings, any information that's going to be able to help that family is our goal.
Yeah. So how can people find out more information and be in touch with you guys?
So they can go directly to autism.fau.edu, and they can check out our website. There's also a link there under our programs tab for our iRise 2 mentoring program. They can always contact me directly. My email address is D as in David, MURRA 23 like Michael Jordan, at fau.edu, or they can give me a call at 561-213-6936, and they can get involved directly with me or our programs. We can link them with a card center. Let's say if they're hearing this in Tampa, I can help them get linked with the card center, local card center there.
Awesome.
Any information that I can, divulge, please give me a call.
You're willing.
Yes.
Ready and willing. Well, I think you're fantastic.
Thank you very much.
I think what you're doing is fantastic. I think the program is amazing. I really encourage my listeners, if you are impacted by autism, to reach out to Darius, get information, and get your family member, yourself into programs. I encourage you guys to mentor and be part of the change that we all... Wait, I feel like I'm getting into a political setting here. That's not what I wanted, but you get the point. Be the change you want to see in the world. And
I always tell people, I say, inspiring someone with special interests is a lot easier than you think. Just take the time, get involved, become educated, and become a leader. That's all it is.
Absolutely. Well, high five to that. Thank you, Darius.
You so much
do you want
to
sign off the podcast? It's super easy.
Yeah. How do we do that?
Just be like, hey, this is Darius Murray with FAU Card, or iRise, however you want to say it. And this has been Curve the Cube.
Hey, this is Darius Murray with FAU Card and our iRise 2 mentoring program. And this is Curve the Cube. Thank you for listening.
High five again. I did a lot of high fives.
All right.
Do you want to sign my guest book?
I would love to sign your guest book. That'd be awesome. And like I said, I got some goodies for you.
You have successfully curved the cube.